mostly, but so that's this class. That's what this is going to bring up. Ego doesn't. So we've been warned. I'm a messenger, a demonstrator. This is mostly for me because I need to learn this lesson. I feel like the way I've been planning my classes, Holy Spirit has been arranging my lessons perfectly with the curriculum as it goes. That's been interesting. Hey Luke, can you let the doggo in? We've got a scratcher at the door. I'm busy. So, thank you. So I want to remind us, it's not about believing it. That's going to come up tonight. You don't even have to believe this. What's important is hearing it and considering applying it. Because only application of this idea will show you that it's true. It's not one the ego is real happy about. So look at how many people are in the class. It's gonna,
oh, sorry.
It's like rapid fire ego blasting tonight.
Well, I'm sure more will come later.
Yeah, maybe. And if they do, it's their own fault. And it's your guys' own fault. Like you're here.
Hey.
You might have not been here.
I completely forgot. Well, it's been a crazy day. So I was exhausted and I just sat on the couch, was watching TV, and I said, oh, let's watch a movie. And Kayla says, well, what about Carolyn's thing? I go, oh, I forgot. I forgot it was Wednesday. I forgot the class. I forgot it was Wednesday.
Oh, no. Sneaky ego got you. That's what I mean. You knew it was Wednesday and you knew it was coming, and your ego now has this. This is a regular class you come to, Dottie. Like this was.
I know, I haven't done this in ages.
I know.
Yeah. It's etched in me now.
Yes.
I didn't have to. I was just like, it's time. Okay.
You guys, your level of willingness to show up regularly will do wonders for you. Like you're taking the wisest route by just attending, hearing it over and 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 over.
Oh, yeah, I believe it. Because I mean, even today, because of all the ups and downs we went through, it's just like it didn't get me like it would in the past. I'm still dealing with the car thing, and it happened again. And
Seriously.
We're at home.
But we're at least at home when it happened, and it's all gonna, all meant to be, whatever. That's something that's sort of, I mean, I'm much better. Not that I don't get frustrated because I've been working, trying to get it fixed. But anyway, I'm so much better than before. And I think it's this class. And yeah. So
it's you're tuning your radio to the love frequency. You can't even help it. If you hang out, you those things that saying like you are your 5 people you hang out with the most. Like it's kind of like you end up, we see each other, we hear this message together so much. It's like it's becoming natural. It's natural for us to do this. Like when we miss it, we feel weird.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like, whoa. That's a good momentum to have. That's a really powerful. Katney, what's up? What's up? It's so good to see you. What a treat. Treat.
I didn't even mean to do this. I didn't change the settings or anything, and I'm in a sort of noisy place if you can't tell. But I look kind of tired, but I think it's, I'm looking at myself. I think it's me. I think I can confirm that it is me. Okay. Yes, I will confirm that it is me. So,
It's weird, right? To see yourself in the camera. It's weird.
I mean, I'm weird. So yes, yes.
I am weird too. And it's like, it's even a lesson in itself to see the body mind reflected in an image that you get to see on this little thing. It's very, very strange. Christina, welcome. Good to have you. Good to have you back. Guys, I still have a dog. I'm going to say, can you please let the dog in? This is a funny.
Did you say that too?
Well, first it was Lucas, and he did let the dog in, but now we have another dog that's wanting in. Oh, so I told Ryan, oh, in my little text message. So hopefully that remedies that. It's a little annoying and distracting. But anyway, that would make sense, you guys. What I was just saying is, if it was kind of a hard day to get here, it's because the message is really, really direct, really powerful, really strong, really important. This is the best news you can hear that doesn't sound like good news. Okay. So I'm just a friend hanging out with you guys. I need this message probably more than anybody. So when I'm saying you, I'm really talking about me. And the essence of this lesson is this: you and you alone are completely responsible for the quality of your experience of each moment. Take a nice deep breath if you want to. Bringing all of what you got into this now moment, knowing that what you're about to hear, you might not believe. You might not believe. You might believe a little, but not a lot. Like you might believe parts, but not the whole thing. That's okay. The truth doesn't need your belief to be true. That's what's amazing about love and the truth. It doesn't need people to believe in it for it to be true. And so consider yourself blessed, lucky that you're getting to hear this now, because this is the most powerful concept, one of the most powerful concepts that will take you from one trajectory to 180 degrees another direction. And that is on page 328. You don't have to believe it. You might not like it. Just don't judge and analyze these ideas. Try to apply them, but like not in your mind, apply them like in the world. Like, this is our recipe. We need to go bake the cake. We can't just have the cookbook, read the recipe, and be like, why didn't I have a cake? Well, because you got to go into the world and get the mixing bowls, start the oven. You got to do the things that it says to do in the cookbook. So you don't have to have the book to follow along. This one's juicy, 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 juicy. Feel free to throw any comments or questions in the chat. If you guys feel so inspired, it'd be helpful to me if you go to my YouTube channel, Carolyn Mackey, and subscribe. And if you feel so inclined to watch videos throughout your week, leave comments. Though that's like really helpful. I know if you like it, it puts it in its own category and you have to save it forever, which might be helpful. And you don't have to like it. Leave a comment. That's really helpful for my channel. So it starts suggesting it to more people when I have a little activity. So I'm going to start trying to get a little active. And you guys can help a mighty companion out if you want to. And you're free. I free you. That means I trust you. And that means I love you. Page 328 in the Way of Mastery. It's getting really good. Prepare yourself to hear. Remove judgment, soften and dissolve the barriers and the blocks of what you already have learned and what you already know. No, you don't. It never lets me, but I only have the free options. Oh, okay. Maybe, okay, good question, Dottie. On YouTube, if it's not letting you leave comments, it's because you're not signed into YouTube somehow. Yeah, and that's probably the free version you're talking about. Yeah, that's probably why. That's why. If you logged in, had a sign in that's associated with like usually Gmail, but I think you can hook it up maybe to any email. Maggie, you'll be able to, you have a login, and so it's to pay. Okay. Yeah. Because you can get a free YouTube, like you can be logged in for free and comment, but I think it has to be linked to a user, right? So they can trace who's making the comments for like, safety reasons, probably. All right. I did not create the message. I am the messenger. I need to hear this so badly that I'm going to share it. So, bear with me. Enjoy. You and you alone, Carolyn. You're completely responsible for the quality of your own experience of each moment. No one is doing anything to you, Carolyn. The world's not an unsafe place. And what you experience, Carolyn, in life is the direct result of what flows from inside out. Because there can be no flow from the outside in, except that which you receive and make your own. That which you receive and make your own. So you received it and you made it your own. You and you alone are completely responsible for the quality of your experience in each moment. No one is doing anything to you. The world's not an unsafe place. And what you experience in life is a direct result of what flows from the inside out. You're the creator. That's what that means. If there is there any point then to be fearful of something or anything at all? Of course not. Take a nice deep breath if you want to. Hearing this is that's the goal, just hearing it. Did we hear that? That's the essence of this lesson. You and you alone are completely responsible for the quality of your experience in each moment. Once we have taken on this mind frame, this framework of thought, like I am responsible for my experience, we are talking radical acceptance and responsibility that we need to take care of our experience, that nobody else can take care of our experience for us, and that we can't take care of other people's experiences. We have a little bit of a confused idea about that in the world. And we're innocent. Hear this. Hi, Nina.
Hi, sorry, my computer is messing up, so I'm gonna try to get into my computer in a few.
All good, all good. If you are fearful, mighty companion, at least accept that you have decreed to be fearful. If you are fearful, at least accept it that you've decreed it to be so by saying, I choose to be fearful of being a millionaire. And therefore, I will not take this opportunity and run with it. Or I am fearful of the opinions of others. Therefore, I will not give speeches in public. At least say, I choose to have the experience of being contracted and fearful. At least take ownership and recognize the simple truth that as the world shows up to reflect that fear to you, it's doing so only out of loving service to you. Okay, Christina has a very good, yes, okay, so like I said, this one's going to be startling and we're not being asked to believe it, we're being asked to hear it, right? So others do make choices about how to live. And that's what it means by accepting it from the outside in. There can be no flow from outside in unless you receive it and accept it as your own. So that pain that you receive and accept as your own, that's their pain. Others made those choices out of their pain. We are being asked to be responsible for our own experience, even if other people's are choosing hurtful things. They can be hurtful, and also simultaneously, you do not have to value or allow their hurtful behavior to determine your experience moment to moment, day to day. So it's saying that's what it means by saying what we are experiencing in life is the direct result of what flows from inside out. There can be no flow from the outside in. If you think there's flow from the outside in, like other people can hurt me, that just means you received the hurt and you accepted it as your own. And remember that you don't have to believe this. And it's not asking you to change your mind. It's not even asking you to believe it. It says you might not believe it. You might resist this. And if you are feeling extremely triggered right now, it means you're hearing it. So, good job. Did you know that if you're feeling afraid or mad or triggered, you're doing well? You're hearing a little something different. Try to withhold judgment. Try not to analyze it. Breathe. Yes, no judgment. No judgment here, right? Isn't that crazy? It's like when you're afraid, that's when you got to think more loving thoughts. When you're afraid, that means your ego is not happy, which means you put yourself in enough loving information and in enough loving vibration over and over again that your ego's mad. And it's going to say, this is making me a victim, saying I'm guilty. No, not guilty. You are responsible. You're not guilty. None of this is your fault, but you are responsible of your quality of experience in life. Do not sacrifice your peace or happiness or love or abundance for somebody else's pain. If you are fearful, here's what we have to do. We have to decree it. We have to say, I choose to be fearful. I'm not ready yet. I choose to be fearful. I am afraid of people's opinions, therefore I will not give speeches in public. It's not saying like this. It's saying, say this. Say, I choose, I don't understand it, but I choose to have the experience of being contracted and fearful. Okay, so at least you're taking ownership and recognizing the truth, which is simple. The world shows up to reflect to you love that you're thinking and feeling, or it will show up to reflect to you fear that you are thinking and feeling. It is only doing this because it loves you and it unconditionally reflects back to you. And it's like, okay, so that's why it's important that we become responsible. Because if we haphazardly just go through our life and allow whatever to happen, be a victim to other people, to circumstances, even to our past. Ooh, that past can make us feel so shameful and guilty and ugh. Say, I choose to have the experience of feeling contracted. I am choosing to be a fearful human being. At least take this ownership and recognize the truth that as the world shows up to reflect back to you what you're putting out, it's doing so only out of loving service to you. Take a deep breath if you want to. The universe is only love. 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 It is easier said than done, sweet sister. Sweet, sweet sister. It is so hard. This is not easy. You are up here with braveness for being here. Okay, you're like popping out of my ceiling. Okay, it's brave to hear this. It's brave. This is not for the faint of heart. Have I ever said that? That's why there's not a lot of people in this class. You are here because you're sent. You might have thought, oh, I came up with the idea, but you didn't. Again, it wasn't you. Holy Spirit sent you here. Ego does not let you come to a class like this. Dottie's ego wanted her to watch a movie tonight and veg out on the couch. It didn't even want to remember it was Wednesday. Right? Okay. Yes, the universe is only love. Maggie, if your one takeaway is that the universe is only love, you could repeat that one truth to yourself and you will literally heal your own mind, your whole world. Everything will be healed if you can repeat that truth to yourself over and over more times than the fearful things that you do currently say to yourself. Maggie, now you're talking, this is exactly what I'm talking about. When you repeat, oh my God, I'm going to highlight what Maggie said because this is actually quite profound. She's hearing it. Maggie, thank you. She said, it will help me block the negative ones if I repeat the universe is only love. The universe is only love. When you're saying that, two minds cannot be operating the vehicle at the same time. So when you put love in place, whether it's like wholeheartedly or not, when you're saying the universe is only love, the universe is only love, it literally blocks out the negative thoughts you have, because you can't be thinking love and fear at the same time. She says, I've been practicing more with affirmations. Do this one. You don't even need many affirmations. You need a potent truth. One potent truth will change your entire trajectory of your life. You're, Maggie, and okay, so struggling with the negative ones is common. Did you know, Maggie, that your negative ones are going to get stronger as you hear more loving truth? Did you know that you will actually piss off that fearful, limited, separate part of yourself that wants to stay small? There's a part of you that gets something out of being limited. And me too, all of us. So when we keep showing up and giving ourselves space to expand and hear truth over and over and over, the ego's gonna get threatened. It's gonna start feeling like it should fight for its life. So it's gonna get louder. I hate to be the one to tell you this, but I love that you are hearing the truth. So you can be rest assured you're not guilty. You're not even in danger. Your ego's getting louder, but that's good news. That means you're killing it. You're disempowering it. That's what I mean. You're not giving it any energy or value. And so it's got to get louder. It's got to get meaner. And for you having some of that OCD, you're gonna feel it really worse. And that's what makes you need to commit more to love. You need to hear more love. When it gets really, really bad, when your mind feels like it's the worst it's ever been, that's because you're literally taking its power away with love. Yes. I know you guys feel me. And if you don't know what I mean, you're being warned. It's like the course feels so good to hear. Yes, truth. It's like quenching your thirst, and then the ego starts to destruct, and then it looks like chaos, and it's a mess, and it feels sloppy and teary and ugly and fetal position and like not getting out of bed and never leaving the house for like 4 weeks. And you're like, how not leave the house for 4 weeks? Like, ego's gonna get ruthless. So keep practicing. When it gets bad, you need more truth. I'm not even joking. I listened to Course in Miracles classes and podcasts for like a year straight because I was drowning out my ego, and my ego was loud and mad, and it couldn't even be off for 1 second. It couldn't even be off for 1 second. I had to drown myself with truth. And then I hated my teacher. And so I had to find some other truth out there because I'm like, oh, I hate this person. I hate this person. I like, it's the worst thing to hear in the world. And they're cold. They're like, that's what I thought. I'm like, what a cold person to have to look at me and tell me my suffering is self-created. Burn. Like, I wanted a new teacher. But sure enough, I'd listen and burn myself out on the next teacher. And I'd listen to it so much that I'd be like, that's annoying. I hate that. Oh, I hate the way they do that. Oh my God, I can't even listen to this anymore. Yeah, I know the repeating, even when you don't believe it, it's actually not hard. It's not hard. We just don't want to do it. what we're talking about, repeating a mantra or a truth, it's not hard. Not attaching to your fear and your story, that's hard. Being in your fear, being in the story, that's hard. Be careful what the ego wants to lead, what path it wants to lead you down, saying it's hard to focus on the love. It wants you to believe that. But when you're here in class, joining in love, joining, your ego wants you alone. You have to join in love. It's not hard. This doesn't hurt. This feels great. I love being reminded. I love hearing the truth. I love sharing the truth. I love helping people wake up. Don't be asleep in the pain and suffering. You deserve more. It isn't hard. What you are doing and what we've learned in the world, that's hard. This is simple, but it's different. This is simple, but it's different. And it's too simple that we don't believe repeating truths will work. It's too simple. But that's how we repeated, that's a toaster, that's a toaster, until we believed, and every time we saw one, we were like, that's a toaster. It's just a repeat, repeat, repeat. And it's hard when you've been under fear for so long. It's like being on a desert with no water. You're at your weakest, and you're being asked to use your your loving muscles, and you need support. You need water. You need quenched. You need hydrated before you're going to have like jump up and be ready to affirm. Yes, the universe is only love. The universe is only love. But you can start by being willing to give yourself that loving truth instead of repeating the stories and the untruths. And you know how I know they're not true? Because you feel horrible. How you feel is a direct indicator of which thought system you're using. Are you using fear and the world's thought system? Because the world will love to tell you you're in some sort of loss or lack. Because and believe this is something that's happening to you. They want to give you sympathy when the course and this wisdom is saying you're more powerful than that. You created this accidentally. You can create again. You can choose again. You can create anew. You're powerful. But you want to keep repeating the old thoughts, the bad things, and the things that have already happened. You and me, and all of us, until we've reached our limit. And we can't handle feeling crappy anymore. We're like, okay, that's not changing. I cannot go on feeling like this. And only I can be responsible for that. Really good questions. And Christina, it's super relatable. So relatable. And you're in a safe place. And you're loved. And you're perfect and innocent. And you deserve relief. You deserve joy and abundance and connection and all the love in the world. That's why you're here. And this space is here for you as a container so that you can sit in love and hear loving truth until you're ready to think and feel the truth for yourself. So keep showing up, Christina. Keep showing up. It's not easy. If it gets scary, you have to give yourself more love. More love. You're worth it. You're here on purpose. You're hearing this good news that doesn't sound like good news. You're hearing it. Oh, yeah. And we can hear this and not be ready to apply it. We're innocent if we hear this and are not ready to apply it yet. It's like it's not asking you. It wants you to do things at your own pace, and it wants you to discover the gentleness and the love behind these words. Like, actually, let me keep going because this is so good. Oh my gosh, we've got, okay. This is so good. Hard to hear, but it's okay. Let's just hear it. Let's hear it together. The universe is only love, and beings will respond to you according to what you want to call into your being. That's all. Nothing else is even possible. It's quite true that you might be calling calamity to yourself because you as a soul are ready to discover a greater depth of love and forgiveness in yourself. Life might bring you challenges, but only because you've asked it to bring you challenges so that you can, get this, grow your capacity to maturely direct love in this world. What? Is that what we're doing? That's actually what we're doing, guys. We're trying to maturely direct love in this illusion of separation. That's us. Nothing can occur that you have not called to yourself, Carolyn. The universe is only love. And beings will respond to you according to what you want to call into your existence. That's all. Nothing else is even possible. It is quite true that you're calling a calamity to yourself because you as a soul are ready to discover the greater depth of love and forgiveness in yourself. It's an inside job. Life might bring you challenges, but only because you've asked it to, so that you can grow your capacity to maturely direct love in this world. Rest assured, nothing can occur that you have not called to yourself. And this is so important, you guys. I could not begin to tell you how many times I have conspired to create opportunities for many, many beings to step into the fullness of their Christ consciousness with full power, with full glory, in the shortest possible time, only to have them say, no, I can't do that. Not yet. That's not who I am. I have to go do something else. And the something else, it's always based in fear. Meaning something the egoic part of the mind thinks they need to be comfortable with. I feel called out. I'm totally called out. And something that will take them many more lifetimes to reach the same result. Okay, so we're hearing, what I'm hearing is there's lifetimes that we're taking to reach results of what? Like, okay, that's interesting. And I'm also hearing I've disregarded opportunities presented to me by infinite love creator because I was playing small, forgetting that I am being called. Like, who, little old me? It can't be me. No. I do not want to share A Course in Miracles, even though I say I do, but I'm not going to do anything about it. Well, How many times? Oh, I skipped ahead. The Holy Spirit always knows the shortest route to love. It will, when presented to you, bring up for you your deepest fears, since it is fear that obstructs the light of the truth. Wow, I stumbled on that because that's so powerful. I'm going to say that a few times for us to hear. Take a deep breath if you want to. The Holy Spirit always knows the shortest route to God love. It will, when presented to you, bring up your deepest fears. Because it is fear itself that obstructs the light of truth. Did you know love cannot be taught? Because that is beyond what can be taught. We can only dissolve the fear, remove the blocks to the presence and the awareness of love. Holy Spirit knows the shortest route. Love's voice speaks to you all through the day. And when presented to you, it's going to make you afraid. You're going to be like, ooh, I'm inspired and that makes me nervous. Like, woo, since it is fear alone that obstructs the light of truth. Fear is the thing, the one and only thing that obstructs love. Woo! So if you're afraid, that means you're doing good. If you're feeling lonely, discouraged, and afraid, that means you're working towards the truth because you've heard the truth. You know the truth. Now it's a fight with ego for who gets to drive the car. And it's our responsibility. Nobody but me can influence my mind. In fact, nobody can influence my mind without my permission, which is why the loving wisdom says you don't have to believe it. You don't have to accept it as true because it doesn't want you to have to accept or believe it. That's loving. It frees you. That's so opposite of what we're used to. Love is freedom. That's opposite of what the world tells us. Whew, let's see. So how then do you dissolve fear? Fear is pretty strong. Wouldn't you guys like to know? Here, you guys listen up. How do you dissolve fear? This is how you dissolve fear. You recognize it, you feel it, and then you own the fact that fear is not your master. And then you continue on. Keep going. If you're afraid, you need to recognize that you are afraid. You need to go ahead and feel it. I feel afraid. And then you need to own the fact that fear is not your master. And then you need to continue on with your day. But we like to attach and identify with our drama. But it gets exhausting. And once you're tired, once you're really tired and you can't do it anymore, you'll be willing to try something else. And if you're not there yet, you will get there. You will. You're already on your way. This is cool. It says the ring of fear, of which I speak quite deeply in A Course in Miracles, is simply that. The ring of fear is something constructed from the inside out, meaning we created it because we are the meaning makers of our lives. And we are taking responsibility of making good new meaning for our lives. In reality, all power under heaven and earth is given to you. When you're presented with an opportunity, you're not presented something in which you're asked to go it alone. Carolyn. If you accept the Holy Spirit's function as your own, every obstacle is removed before you reach it. That takes so much faith. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. This is not for the faint of heart. What? You just want me to like go forward following the voice for love? And then you'll just like remove the blocks for me? Wait a minute. There's got to be fine print. What's the fine print? Well, the fine print is you have to release everything that you've made based on small, limited interpretations of what you're worth and what you deserve. That stuff's going to fall away. That's the price. That's the fine print. You can have everything your heart desires and more if you're willing to give up the scraps that we've pieced together and called love. Therefore, beloved friends, where you are, or where in life you are resisting opportunities that have been presented to you, where you resisted and said, well, it's not me. I'm not that way. I really can't do that. When in fact, you are merely afraid of the world and fear has defeated you. What? Beloved friends, where in your life are you resisting the opportunities that have been presented to you? Where have you resisted and said, that's not me, I'm not that way, I can't do that? When in fact, you're merely just afraid. You're afraid. Fear has defeated you. And in the way of knowing where we are reading from, fear has no power. Howdy, howdy, Todd. Welcome. One simply abides and does, gives back to God, and then goes on. Holy cow, what are we hearing? It's okay, just keep hearing it. Just keep hearing it. You're doing great. On the day when your body mind returns to the dust of the ground, which is an old way of saying that the energy that's holding the subtle forms of matter, your molecules and your atoms together to create an appearance of something solid, when that energy of intention and will is gone, the mind is shifted somewhere else and the body dissolves. Yet, you will remain as you have always been. We're talking about death, all right? On the day when your body returns to dust, that energy of intention and will is gone. The mind is shifted somewhere else and the body dissolves. But you will remain as you've always been, pure intelligence, pure potentiality, pure perception. You will still be creating and you'll be merely generating energy fields that will create experiences and worlds around you. And that's what we've done here on planet Earth. We've dropped in to the Earth and said, I'm going to create an experience of separation. And poof, the energy of the world was the co-creation that we are in. We are creating it and experiencing it. We're in it. And when we leave this body, we'll go do it again in another space and time. We may materialize, we may not, but we're going to be as we've always been. You abide now in the perfect opportunity to walk through your rings of fear. So look well. Where do you feel a contraction? Where do you feel fear and hesitancy? Is it in something that needs to be said to a friend? See, as the light of the world, the more transparent you become, the more you merely speak when you feel moved to speak. And you do when you feel moved to do. You go where you feel moved to go, laugh as you feel moved to laugh, and cry as you feel moved to cry. The less resistance that we have to the flow and the movement of life, the more we recognize our perfect innocence and the perfection of all things. This literally emanates from our heart and soul. The more we do that, the more we will create the mindset, a state of being that when the body does dissolve, we are in our infinite magnificence and fear won't contract us. We'll simply say, oh, well, what can I create now? I seem to not have a physical body anymore. How interesting. Where you choose to resist moving through your rings of fear, as you know they exist in your current life, they do. You're building a prison for yourself. As you resist moving through the ring of fear or rings of fear, you are building a prison for yourself, pure and simple. The world will tell you, don't trust the impulse of the heart, not the impulse of the mind or the ego, but the impulse of the heart. Yet, it's in the heart that the guidance of the Holy Spirit exists. That's where it speaks from, is the heart. Of course, we'd want to squash that. Of course, we'd want to train up everybody to be really intellectually and compare minds, make sure the thinkiest thinker is the best, and like everybody admires and is like so enamored by the thinkers. When really the juice and the truth is in the heart. That's a real saying. Like they don't remember what you said. They remember how you made them feel. True. The truth. True. Yeah, because even if I say the wrong words, if my love and intentions are pure, they're not going to be offended by my words. They're going to feel my heart. Be like, oh, Carolyn, she said that stupid thing again. It's like, she is, yeah, sometimes I say things that don't match up with love, but my heart is there and my love is there. So I'm not perfect. I do make mistakes. Wow, guys. Nothing can occur that you have not called to yourself. This is a class about responsibility and your continued existence and continuing to accept that I and I alone can be in charge of my experience. I don't want to give it up to somebody else, especially somebody else who treats me bad. Don't give up your happiness to those people. Don't give up your happiness to anybody. That's what I say. But, love and fear is confusing. In the world of separation, it's confusing. And we're innocent. And we can choose again. We can choose again. We can choose again. It's called seeing with the eyes of a child. Holy instant. Being born again. In every moment, at any moment, we can choose peace instead of this. Whatever this is. Fire hose, the fire hose of truth tonight. And just take ownership. This is saying you don't have to like this idea. This is just saying start taking ownership of like, I feel like crap. I must be decreeing so. I must be choosing to feel fearful because here I am feeling fearful. The world is reflecting back to me exactly what I'm putting out. And it's doing that to me, for me, out of loving service. And I don't have to believe it. I can just hear it. And if you really want to experience miracles, you'll just say this to yourself over and over and over again. I'm choosing my experience. I'm choosing this. I'm choosing this. I don't know how, but I am. That's the juice. Do you guys have any questions? I feel like I could have done like an hour and a half on that lesson, and that was not a full, that was 2 sections. page.
The same thing. I was like, I don't know, tonight I'm like, I feel like this could have been like a whole like 3-hour Zoom just from what there's like so much there to unpack. Like, I remember like
So good.
it's weird because I always thought like I always believed in the law of attraction. And it's funny now because I believed in the law of attraction, but then the moment that it really sunk in of like us being in charge of our experience, I was devastated because I was like, it was just easier for me to think that because you know when you grow up in religion, the book is written. Everyone has a book written with exactly what's going to happen, everything that's laid out. And so then you go through life and things happen and you're like, you're praying to make it go away for certain things. Cause you're like, okay, well, if this is all out of my control, I'm going to pray to a higher, you know, power to take it away because it was in my book. And so they can take it away. And then the moment you realize like we have free will, like the universe is love, but we also have free will. And that's what's so amazing about our experience is we come here not to just have that love endlessly in our minds programmed already, but to make a choice. Like it's always available to us, but we have the free will to use our gift of thinking and we have our free will to F up and make mistakes and to remember how the universe is love. So I don't know. I think it's a really hard concept at first when you're like, why would I do this to myself? And then it's like you get to a point where like, okay, well, there is more freedom in this because now I can really be here and create and see how this works if I try out practicing different, you know, ways of beliefs and thinking instead of thinking like this happening to me, like I'm here experiencing life unfolding. But with what Christina said earlier, that's like, I feel you on that because last year for me was the year where I was stuck in my story for, it was a really on and off battle. And I think that fear and pain, it's contagious. And all it takes is like a little sampler, you know, that's how they get you. You take a little free sample and then it just spreads in your body. And you're like, no, it wasn't worth the free sample. But it's just like, it's contagious. And when we practice it enough, like fear or self-doubt or the pain, we make it our personality. And then our personality in turn creates our personal reality. So then you start seeing the evidence, you start living it, but taking a step back and realizing it's self-created, it helps us to let go of our grip just a little bit. Not like poof, it's gone, but you're like, what? And you just like loosen your grip just little by little. And then we start practicing love and trust. And it's just like that little, like you're building the muscle. And then for me, the repetition isn't, I'm upset. I'm like, I'm so happy, trying to convince myself otherwise. That for me, repetition is just different. For me, it's like last year, when I could barely hold on to reality last year, I was showing up to classes like this, or I was listening to like Louise Hay or like reading like my Florence Shin. I was just trying to surround myself with things that even if I couldn't really grasp it at that moment, I knew that I needed it. Like it touched the inner knowing, it touched that inner wisdom. And so I was practicing that in repetition, even though I was still very much stuck in my story. But that's where like our inner wisdom comes in because it's like, we know we're greater than this and we don't feel it and really have faith in it just yet. But there's a reason why we find these places and these people and like that they're nudging us. Like they're like the hidden divine messengers and angels and healers and like, oh, you're forgetting your magic. Like, wake up. I'm not going to sit here and boohoo with you. Like, you know, I got you, girl. Like, you're a badass, mystical, you know, get on your shit. Like, let's go. And so for me, the repetition wasn't trying to lie to myself. It was like what Carolyn said. I'm living in fear and this sucks. Help me. And then it's just feeling yourself, surrounding your space, what you listen to, what you allow in your conversations, what you allow to say. Like for me, it was, I'm going to stop reaffirming my victimhood, like with my words. And so that to me was repetition. Eventually it grows. And for me, I call it mining my mental garden. Like I just picture my mind as a garden. It's like an orchid, right? I don't know if you guys have plants, but when I got my first orchid and it died, and I was trying to water it and I didn't see the proof of it living anymore, I threw it away. And then I learned about orchids and I got another one. And then when it died, I faithfully for 6 months would water it when I was supposed to water it. And I saw no evidence of life. But in 6 months, it blooms again. So if you have an orchid, they die and they regrow in 6 months. Don't throw them away. And that's how I see us. When we're living our story, we don't see how we're supposed to bloom and live this beautiful life, but you have to give yourself like that repetition. You have to keep feeding yourself until you remember and it takes and you practice it. And then the evidence shows, but you have to reprogram like all of it. Like you said, like you have to let go of everything you've created in your personal world and then reconstruct from like the bottom up. And so it takes a lot of time because for me, like I've been living my life, I always forget my age, 31 years. And I'm like, well, it's not going to happen overnight. And like an entire last year, I was struggling. It's not just going to be all, you know, rainbows and butterflies overnight. Like feeling better is great, but it's also a practice and a lifestyle and faith. And so now my goal is to rebuild that as much as possible from that foundation. And in the next few years, see where that's at, like in how I'm living with faith instead of waddling or fear and things like that. So there was so much, and I know my answer was super long, but that's just everything I got out of it tonight that I wanted to share.
Oh my gosh. Well, in Nina's sharing alone, she made a lot of connected a lot of dots, right? For what this is even talking about. She gave us some real life examples like the orchid. Now, what she did mention is like she's rebuilding from this new foundation, even though everything went to shit. Like she's rebuilding from this new loving foundation. And the promise is when everything falls apart, it's easier and quicker to build from love because you're building with love. You're not building against love anymore. You're not building fearfully. You're literally going to save time. It's not going to take as much time to rebuild because you're doing it with love.
It's like you wake up out of the illusion. And so now it doesn't mean it's never there. Because for me, if I get anxious or I get in my head, I get looping thoughts, that's a love letter. That's a wake up call. It's like, oh, you're in your head again instead of in your life. Whereas before that was my story. Oh my gosh, I'm broken. Something's wrong with me. I'm mentally ill and this and this and that. I'm like, my life is just gone to like complete chaos. Now it's like, oh, okay, like out of nowhere, I'm getting hit with a low mood. This is my indicator. Hey, where are you living right now? Because this is you in fear base. So when you start practicing this, don't get hard on yourself when you find yourself in pain or you find yourself in a low mood or you find yourself reverting back to an old trauma response or habit. You can catch it and say, oh, this is who I was, or this is the old story, or this is, oh, tap on the shoulder, you're in your head again. Like, come back to the present, come back in your life and remember your truth. So I think it's just like that repetition helps you to remember and your recall gets better and better. And Carolyn, your hair looks great tonight. And then Kenny, I love to see your face because I don't really see your face besides your picture. It never changes. So you just look the same all the time. But it was good to see your face on here tonight.
This is live. No, this image is a live.
What'd you say?
This image now, this is that you see now. It's a live image. I can talk without.
No, it's not.
Go ahead. Sorry.
It was a fun evening, you guys. I told you it was gonna be potent, and yeah, we could do that. We could split that into 3 classes. Honestly, it is because if you go slow, you go deep. It reveals and provides and soothes. And so give yourself credit for showing up here tonight. You've done awesome. I've got to go because I haven't eaten dinner yet. And so I'm sorry we don't have time for any more discussion. Carolyn's got to eat. And but I appreciate you guys being here and hearing this with me. Aren't you glad we heard this together? take something with you, repeat it. You've got this, and I'll see you next time. You all have a good night. Thank you so much. Bye, Nina. Thanks for sharing.
Thanks. Bye.